out there, you may have seen this next artist when you scroll through your Instagram or your TikTok. She's an upcoming singer-songwriter out of Nashville. This is TracieLynn. How are you today, TracieLynn?
Doing good. As you can see, I'm literally sitting in a room with a box behind me because I just recently moved, and I literally don't have a table to sit at. So I'm sitting in the room. I have my cat in one room, and then my dog in the other room because I also just got a cat recently,
Oh,
and they're not meshing quite yet. So separation is key for the time being.
makes sense to me, girl. Listen, as an animal lover, I totally understand. The more the merrier, but at the same time, they don't always feel that way. So, girl, I
Yeah,
get it.
time. It's just
Well,
baby steps. They're slowly getting along, but
that's
I don't have
right.
to go with them yet.
Well, to get a little, I don't want to say personal, but one of the most recent videos that you posted that I saw was you singing, sitting on your floor, a little Tennessee whiskey, acoustic, vibing with the sound of the new space that you're in. So congratulations on your move. That's exciting.
Yeah, pretty much all of our rooms are empty. This is just another empty room that I'm sitting in. But this one has carpet, so the sound's not quite as good, but I haven't torn this carpet up yet. So the one downstairs that I posted, um, I tore that carpet up and pulled
Mhm.
up it felt like 10,000 nails, sanded, restained. And so before I put the furniture in there, I was like, I'm going to take full advantage of this.
Yeah,
So this room will look like that eventually. I don't feel like doing it right now.
it's a lot of work,
It is a
girl.
lot
I
of
get
work.
it.
It's back-breaking work, but it's worth it.
I get it. Yes, I totally get it. Oh my gosh. Well, okay. I'll get back into some more personal stuff with you in a bit, but let's talk more about the music first. So, I want to touch on your album that you have out, More Than a
Yeah,
Bad Habit, with one of the lead singles off of that being Broadway Cowboy.
yeah,
Tell me, you've gotten a lot of streams on this album, that song
yeah,
specifically, and then the title track as well. Tell
yeah.
me, what do you think has led to the success of this album already? Because I feel like it's dropped within the year, and so it's just kind of exploding as it's landing on all the
Yeah.
streaming platforms.
So it's been out for probably I should know this. Like I want to say 3-4 months, so not
Mhm.
even half a year yet.
Right.
I hadn't released an EP yet. Up until that point, it was all singles.
Hmm.
So it's like my debut EP, which was pretty cool. I was on the single train for a while because I
Yeah.
found that songs to each their own. Everyone's different. Everyone has their own opinion. But I feel like when you put out a song, unless you're this like huge name in the music world and you have that huge following, then if you release like an album, a lot of good stuff gets lost in the mix of things,
Yeah.
versus like as
Yeah.
an independent artist, if I release a single, then I can put like all my ammo behind it and give it the stage time really that it needs to see how it performs really.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, I don't know. It was time. I needed to put a collection together and put them all out. And yeah, so I think my goal right now is to kind of do a similar process where in the next year or so, I'll be releasing some singles and it'll eventually lead up to hopefully another album release or EP release, not sure, but
Yeah.
something of that nature.
I love to hear that though, because I feel like that's a very business minded approach. Like a lot of artists that I talk to do like single, single, single album drop, single, single, single album drop. And then there's
Yeah.
like really not a lot of, I'm with you though. I don't know. I feel like sometimes there's like a scheduled madness to it. But I love what you said about how sometimes in an album you get some songs that are like the deep cuts that nobody hears really,
Right.
but you want to get
Right.
them out there. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, they need
Uh,
time, and it like a lot of people too don't like, you know, Chris Stapleton or somebody or Casey Musgraves or Taylor Swift, for example. She could drop
mhm.
a 20-song album, and people are going to listen to that from start to end, each
Oh yeah.
individual song, versus like when you're an independent artist, it's kind of like, you're still banking on that one song to do what you need
Hmm.
it to do. And so I know like Good Kind of Crazy was a song, one of the first songs I ever put out when I moved to Nashville like
Yeah.
3 years ago. And that one has performed the best. And it didn't even start exploding until like 2.5 months in.
Wow.
So it's like, yeah, so like you don't always know. I just feel like, again, this is just my opinion. I feel like it doesn't really matter the product you're putting out. If you're putting out the best cupcake in the world, right?
Right.
You need to like give it time to see what it's gonna do before you just put something else out. Um, and with that comes like, the proper marketing, TikTok, Instagram, all the social media stuff. So, but yeah, so that's kind of what I've been up to.
Well, so then to segue a little bit from single to single, you kind of teased to me that you have another single coming out soon. Um,
Yeah.
how about you tell the listeners out there a little bit about that?
Yeah. So actually, with this one, I wrote it for ABC's The Bachelor franchise. So I wrote it for them, and they actually loved it. It has not, I haven't been given any sort of thumbs up in regards to whether it's going to get on the show, but I did get only amazing feedback from people within their franchise. And so instead of kind of waiting, I just wanted to put it out. And so it's going to come out on Valentine's Day, and it's called First I'm Gonna Kiss You, and I love it. I literally whipped this up in like 2 weeks. I wrote it. I Yeah, like someone on my team was like, look, like I had a show during CMA Fest, and someone from, that franchise was there. They watched me, they thought it was awesome. And basically it was just one of those things where it's like, this girl has all the components she needs to be successful. She just needs exposure.
Yeah.
Don't we all? You know what I mean?
Right. For sure.
So
Yeah.
let's get her on the show. And at the time, I didn't have. I had like some love songs, but not one that would make sense. Like, you know how in the TV show they always have like the singing slow dance moment,
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's like an
Yes.
artist performing, and so that was kind of
Hmm.
my goal for this, or really just to have, them to use at any capacity would be a dream.
Yeah.
But I just decided, like, my bass player is actually, he was like, "Can you please release this? Like, I love it. Just release it." And I'm like, "Okay, fine, I'll release it." So Valentine's Day, it worked perfectly. So it'll come out on Valentine's Day.
Well, I can't wait to hear it. Oh my gosh. And like,
Yeah.
let's fingers crossed that this is going to wind up on The Bachelor. Like, oh
I
my
know,
gosh.
right? In some
What?
capacity, even if it doesn't, I'm like, you know what? I could hear it on like a Hallmark movie or something. It's
That's
gotta.
right. Hmm.
There's a life there for it.
Yeah, definitely. Tell me how it compares writing a song that's kind of lovey-dovey, very sweet, very in your feels versus like Broadway Cowboy and, all these um,
Yeah.
good kind of crazy, that kind of stuff. Tell me about the difference.
I don't really know. I wouldn't say. I mean, the process is kind of the same.
Yeah.
Um. So it really, I don't have like a specific way. I get asked all the time, like, what's your writing process? How does it work? Like, is there any sort of like pattern there that you do? And it really isn't. I mean, sometimes the melody comes to me first, and then sometimes like I'll just be out. Like, More Than a Bad Habit is a perfect example of this.
Yeah.
Like, the name of my EP as well as the single More Than a Bad Habit was, I was sitting out at a tin roof, the infamous tin roof on Demumbrium.
Tin Roof. Yeah.
Yeah, little stomping grounds area. And I was standing at the bar, and my husband was there, and I think we were like with a group of friends, and I overheard the guy next to me. He turned to his friend and was like, "Hey, dude, I don't remember the girl's name. I'll just use Susie. Is Susie gonna come out tonight? Whatever." And he literally turned to his friend and word verbatim and was like, "Nah, bro, that's just a bad habit." And
Oh,
so that's when, yeah, that hurt, right? That hit a spot that
yes.
you didn't know existed. And so that definitely sat with me. So I immediately like went in my phone and I wrote down like More Than a Bad habit, whatever. I just wanted to turn something into it. I was like, because I feel like of all the things, like as a female, like that is low.
I
That's
know.
like, you can't even make that up. Like, that's good. And so that, yeah, that had an impact. And so that's really the big reason. If somebody were to take my phone and listen to like my voice memos or go in my notes, they would be like, this girl's crazy. Like, it's just random thoughts everywhere. And my voice memos, like, sometimes my husband is like, you're so weird, because like in the middle of the night, like he'll think I'm sleeping, and then I'll lean over, I'll grab my phone, and I'll be like, hoo, 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 and it'll be like a melody that comes to me, and I'm like, if I don't record it right now, it's gone.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh my God, I thought you were sleeping, and I'm like, yeah, me too.
Oh, it
But
came to you in a dream. Oh my
yeah,
gosh. Wow. I'm so glad that you told me the backstory of More Than a Bad Habit, though, because like I was, in love with those lyrics when I heard it. But then
yeah,
now that I know the backstory, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I love
yeah,
it. I love it. Love it.
yeah.
Funny that you were talking about Tin Roof just a few seconds ago. So going through your social media again, one of the funniest little videos that I found from you was the one where you're like sipping on some wine in your PJs, just vibing along.
Oh
And
yeah.
everybody in the comment section was like, "Shh, don't tell people where this place is," because apparently it's
Oh
a
yeah.
local hang. Yeah.
That's not Tin Roof. That's what is it called? I went there because one of my good friends was playing that night. Wow. I can't think of the name of it, but when I do, I will send it to you. But it's a little it's not downtown. It's like a
Right.
good 15 minutes outside the city. And it is like a pretty good hole in the wall. But my friend was playing, and I was like, yeah, I'll come support. Do they have wine? I'm
Yes.
there.
Perfect. We
So
love a hole in the wall, though. Like sometimes it's nice to just get away from the hustle and the bustle of Broadway and just
it is. It is.
yeah.
It definitely is. That's why, like, I lived downtown before we
Oh
moved
wow.
to, I won't say where I moved to, but I moved, a good 20, it's like maybe 20 minutes right
Okay.
outside the city,
Yeah.
and it's quiet. So I'm like, I have access
Mm.
to go downtown, but don't have to go, kind of thing. It's nice. I
Yeah.
grew up like on a ton of land, like kind of more in like a farm area.
Hmm.
So I'm used to the quiet and not seeing my neighbors from my window, which I prefer. I have access to the craziness when I want to go, but when I come home, I like the quiet.
That's right. So,
Yeah.
okay, that just brought two little questions to my mind or two little conversation points. Um, you talked about a little bit from where you're from. Knowing your bio, I saw that you're from Virginia, which I guess is kind of like a southern state if you think about it. Tell me a little bit more about your background. Like when did you decide to make the move to Nashville? What did you do before you decided you wanted to be a musician? Tell me all the things.
Yeah. So, I know, I feel like we just like jumped to the end of the timeline.
I
Hi,
love it.
everyone.
No,
My
it's
name is
great.
Tracy Lynn, and I am a country artist. Born and
It's so
raised
great.
in Hampton Roads, like the Hampton Roads area. It's actually called Chesapeake. I have been basically singing and performing on stage since I used 7 as the age. I don't really remember exactly how old, but very, very little.
Yeah.
And I grew up surrounded by music pretty much my entire life. My
Mhm.
dad, we like literally had a music room in my house growing up where we have like a grand piano, a bunch of guitars, um, and then my dad was always involved in music as well. So he played saxophone for a little bit growing up, and then he was in a boy band, and now he plays banjo, and we have a steel guitar. We play a little bit of everything. Um, but yeah, I have been recording a little bit. I think the first time I went to the recording studio, I was probably like 10 or 11, and it was actually
Cool.
here in Nashville.
Mhm.
My parents, I kind of always knew I want to do country music. So my parents, when I was like 10 or 11 years old, they're like, we'll go to Nashville, we'll let you get in the studio just to, little girl, big dream, live it out for a second.
Yeah.
And so I did, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just always knew I want to do country music, and so I made the move with my husband about three. I'm sorry, my cat is like jumping around. He's so annoying right now. I made the move with my husband almost 4 years ago, not quite, and yeah, he was like very skeptical about Nashville
Mhm.
initially, and I told him like when I first met him, we've been together for like 10 years.
Wow.
I was like, look, I really like you, but if you're gonna be with me, I just want to let you know, like I'm gonna go to Nashville at some point. Cause like when I was living back home, I graduated college and then I moved back home, saved up some money, and amidst doing all of that, I had a band and I was doing shows on the weekends and then a full-time job on top of that. But if you're serious about country music, and maybe not so much nowadays because of social media, but when I made the move, it was if you're serious about it, you have to come here because you're putting yourself in a situation where you're surrounding yourself with so many hands to shake,
Yeah.
and if you don't live here, then you don't have that opportunity. And I get like, oh, you go viral on social media and get that record deal. You could. But you also can live here and also go viral and then go out, to these showcases and say, hey, to whoever's sitting next to you at the bar because you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And that's how I've met a lot of people. I remember for the first couple of months, because we moved here like right before COVID happened. So the first
Mm-hmm.
couple of months we were here, I mean, I had this whole game plan. I was like, all right, I'm going to cook dinner at home, save some money, and then we're going to go out to a different bar every single night, and we're
Yeah.
going to talk to whoever is sitting next to us. And that's what we did. And I remember like the first night we did it, I met the guy. We went to Red Door, which is also one of like my little
Love
stop.
it.
Yeah, we went
Yeah.
to Red Door and I started talking to the guy next to me. And he was the guy who wrote the Cheetah Girls.
What? Oh my gosh.
You just never know. I mean, you just
Mm-hmm.
meet people and it's just one big network pool. And, that a handshake goes further than a DM,
Yeah, for
a
sure.
direct message on social media. So, but yeah, we're here. We are here to stay. And yeah.
I love to hear that. Well, okay, so then that brings me to my second talking point, just because if you can't hear it in my accent, I'm a little Southern. And I feel like TracieLynn is one of those what we call double names,
Yeah.
Um, is TracieLynn like a family name? Is it something that's just kind of always been, I don't know, something that's like a part of your family? Or is it just something that your mama was like, I like the name TracieLynn?
Lynn, so Lynn is actually my middle name.
Uh-huh.
And I just kind of put them together. I was like, Tracy doesn't sound stage enough. I was like, let's put them together, Tracy Lynn. And then Lynn
TracieLynn.
is a family name.
Perfect.
But yeah, so it's not quite a double name.
Hmm.
It's a middle name and a first name. But I just said, okay, here we go, Tracy Lynn. That works
I
out great.
I mean, still that like I think when I think double names, I think it's like if you're getting onto your kid or I'm a mom now, so like obviously.
Yeah.
But like I have a daughter and her name is Alani, but I double named her with like whatever her middle name is and I call her Lonnie J. So like if she's in trouble, I'm like Lonnie J. You're just
Oh
da da
yeah.
da da da.
I
And
guess
so
that's how she knows. She's like, okay, mom is serious. She
that
called me
double
the
name
double name.
comes out.
Yeah.
And then if it's really bad, I like government name her and that's terrible. But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
fine. Anyway, oh my gosh, just had to bring that up. I thought that was funny. So, okay, talk to me a little bit about some of the upcoming performances that you have within the next, few months, maybe in 2024, some stuff that you're looking forward to.
Yeah, I have a show in, I should know these dates too. I have a show, I definitely should know them because I literally do all my own bookings. So I have a show at the very beginning of February
Yeah.
in Virginia, and then I have some shows in Florida, which is a place I love going. So Chase Rice actually opened a live music joint called Welcome to the Farm. And
Cool.
so, yeah, and he's got a few locations, and some of them are in Florida. I'm also playing at the Hard Rock in Florida. I
Tampa.
tried,
Yep.
because something with me is I grew up like 20 minutes from the beach. And so I'm a
Yes.
huge beach person, and we do not have that here in Nashville.
No.
So, and I'm like, my whole personality is very revolved around the weather. And so,
Hmm.
living here, that in January, February, March, and even halfway through April, it is depressing and it is so cold. So
That
any
seasonal depression. Yes.
oh yeah. So like January, February, March, I try to book as many shows in Florida as
Yeah.
possible.
Smart.
And so I have like a handful of Florida shows coming up. And then there's a handful of shows that are not completely solidified. But yeah, just kind of all over the place. And then I'm ready for like festival season. That's
Heck yeah.
always fun. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because I've seen that you've played different festivals like Carolina Country Music Fest and some other ones there.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite festival that you've played so far?
There's one in my hometown that I have played for the last 2 years, and it's called
Cool.
Patriotic Festival.
Yeah.
and it is massive. And the reason I love it so much is not because it's massive, but it's on a stage where I saw my first concert. So I saw Maroon 5 when I was like probably like 10, 9, I don't know.
Oh,
And I
yay.
remember like I was young enough to where the sound, it was so loud, and I was like in the nosebleeds where I was scared. It kind of scared me because I was like,
Oh
this
my
is so
gosh.
loud, like the building's gonna like fall. But yeah, so to be able to go back to that huge arena and play on that same stage in my hometown is just euphoric. It's awesome. I've opened for John Party, Sam Smith, Jordan Davis, like all in this arena.
Wow.
And then there's other names too, but I love that. I love doing that. So that, you can't top that. I love all the other
Right.
festivals that I've played, like Georgia Country Music Festival, Carolina Country Music Festival. Those are like sisters, and then
Yeah.
I think Barefoot is like also in that little family of
Hmm.
sister
Hmm.
festivals. But I love festivals. I don't love the heat.
I
There has
know.
been a few times where this past summer I played a show, and in the middle of my set I had to step off because I started to get nauseous. And granted, I'm completely sober. I did not drink anything except for water because it was like 100 degrees outside and I
Yeah.
was already hot. And so I got up on stage and I was like nauseous, like out of nowhere in the middle of my set. And I was
Mm.
like, oh my God. I stepped off. I was just like, I'm sorry. Like, I got to step off for a second. And then I think it's like, that's like a sign of like a heat stroke.
Yeah.
So
I
I
think you're
was
right.
like, yeah. So I got off and I like drank water, and then we came back up for like, play 10 more minutes. And then I told the venue, I was like, look, I'm sorry. Like, I could play the whole time. Like, you don't have to, you can cut back on what you pay me, whatever you need to do. Like, I understand. And they were like, oh my God, no, we're just appreciative that you even played in the first place. And I
Right.
was like, yeah, like that was scary. And then I told my band too, I was like, if any point y'all don't feel good, to step off. You don't even
Cut
have
it.
to announce it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
Hmm.
that gets kind of scary. The heat is real for
Hmm.
sure. But
For sure.
it's all fun.
Oh man. And I'm sure like having all those people sing along with your songs and vibe along with you at the festival probably helps too. So I get it
Oh
though.
yeah,
I can't take the heat. Mm-mm, no.
no, I'm pretty good with heat. And just when you're bouncing, I'm like very active when I'm on stage, like
Yeah.
moving around as much as I can. And so I hate not being able to do that if it's like too hot or something.
Hmm.
But it's so much fun. I mean, I just love festivals. Like, truly, my favorite part about what I do is being on stage. Like,
Wow.
over everything else, like, I love being in the studio. I love making music. I love writing. I love, being involved in all the production. But when you're on stage and you're just, like, creating a moment for somebody else, an experience, and you're making eye contact, and it just, like, that does it for me. It's
Yeah.
like that little reassurance. Oh, yeah, this is why I keep doing what I'm doing.
And I love to hear that. Oh my goodness. I tell you what, TracieLynn, first of all, I've had a wonderful time with you on the episode today.
Thank
Before
you.
we hop off, is there anyone, or I guess anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to, or is there anything else that you'd like to promote? I know that we talked about your new single and some shows that you have coming up, but yeah, feel free. This is your time to just kind of, shout out whatever you need.
Yeah, I would say anybody watching, you guys give me a follow on social media. Follow on Spotify. My Spotify is TracieLynn, all one word. It's not a double
Perfect.
name, but it's all one word.
Yes.
And then all of my social media is the same username across all platforms. It's TracieLynn Music. So give me a
Mhm.
follow on there, and then I'm very active. So I'll keep y'all up to date with everything I have coming, and we'll go on the journey together.
That's awesome. Yes, I can't wait to follow along with you too. You've made a brand new fan out of me today, so I'm so happy that I got to meet you. And yeah,
Yes.
this was a lot of fun.
Next time I won't be sitting on the floor of my house. I'll be at a table. And my dog and my cat can both be in the same room next time.
Yeah,
So,
they'll
yeah.
they'll they'll chill a little better next time. I love
Yeah.
that though. No way. That's so cute. All right, country music fans out there, thanks so much for tuning in and listening to this episode of Coda Country Chats with TracieLynn. Thanks a lot. Y'all
Thanks,
have a
Leigh.
great
Have a
day.
good one.